Alright, so sorry it's been a while since my last video. I work in agriculture, so our busy seasons are basically from the time the ground thaws until plants, crops are a few weeks into the ground, and then we basically have the summer months are pretty dead. And then from the time the crops are harvested until the ground freezes. And then middle of winter is usually another dead season, throwing some barges here and there. So I apologize that I haven't made a video in a while. I looked and it's been almost a month. I had made another video, but I've got two rather large dogs, and they started barking halfway through, and it didn't fix well. So I've got just used vacation to go down and see some family. Then I went and got my motorcycle license, and then we leave for Denver here in a little while and go visit out there. But one of the things that people had mentioned, and don't mind the sham sandwich, I got rid of those last time I was on. One of the things that people had mentioned, and I've seen it in other videos, not just with mine, sometimes on Steam as well as on YouTube videos, I'll get different sets of people commenting and everything. So my buddy and I were doing the day 77 horde. We had, all the settings turned up, 64 zombies, and two of us fired off a lot of ammo. I put down 3 layers wide and 2 high of steel spikes, or scrap iron spikes, and as you can see, they're all gone. One of the things that people mentioned was the zombies weren't falling down, and I just realized I hadn't reconnected those. Cop spit came up. He was standing in some spots, and cops would spit at him, and they'd hit these and broke all but one line across. So the big thing was people weren't getting the zombies to drop. And there's multiple different ways you can do this. Instead of a full block here, you could have, a quarter block and stick it anywhere on this. Really depends on how you want to build it, honestly. I just used these because, well, I was just trying to get it built as quickly as I could because I knew that how well this base worked. So I guess the blocks also help because it tells you, it kind of keeps you in a little bit. You have to, if you step over here, you're not going to get as good of shots as you can if you're standing here. So the big thing is to make sure that you are pressed up against these bars. Now, if you don't have these bars, you're definitely going to need to make sure that you can see this row, because this is the row that you need to stand on. You need to stand as close to this as possible. Now, if you don't have these bars, if you get too close, and I've had this before where the zombies will fall down and they will actually land on top of you. Not fun. But these bars help. As I mentioned in previous videos, the vultures were coming down. They will fly all the way down this tube and then attack you through the bars. And it's really annoying while you're down here, and then all of a sudden something starts beating above you and you're trying to shoot it, and you miss and hit these blocks and have to fix them. It's anyways. But this is the area that you're going to want to stand on. And I'll go upstairs and I'll show you how to do that. Now, another thing that I just taught my buddy, if you're going up to vault doors like that and they're not automatic and everything, you saw how I basically just skipped right through them. They did close right behind me. As soon as you get really close, just double click the E while you're running, and you'll actually just run through them. It also works for hatches when you're going up, Not so much when you're going down, because you have to get, find that sweet spot to catch the ladder and go down. So, alright, so when you're starting this, you should have more than enough stone once you've built the pit, that you shouldn't have to excuse me, you shouldn't have to worry too much about getting enough, digging this out, getting down. You should have more than enough for cobblestone. If you're lucky enough to have a cement mixer nearby, definitely will have more than enough for concrete. But this row right here, the angled pieces, that's going to be the ones that you want to upgrade first, because I keep hearing things and I think it's a zombie. You're going to, the zombies are basically going to path to this point, and they'll start beating on these blocks, trying to get down to you. Eventually, one will jump up or something. I don't know how it works. I've never, been up here. I know some people can get a different camera and keep the body down there. I don't do any of that stuff. I don't know exactly how the zombies work up here. What I do know is that they do come to this line, and they will beat on these blocks until they eventually fall down. Now, the big thing with Horde Night is to make sure that on that line down at the bottom, you have to make sure that you are standing as close to these walls as you can. Now, with the bars down there, it's really easy to see. I'm standing where these angled pieces are, directly below them. So I'm standing right down there to get the zombies to fall into the pit. If you want, rather than having just one slope, you can dig down and have two sets of a ramp. It really doesn't matter. It's not going to change the fact that the zombies are going to fall. It's basically just personal preference at that point. But the other big thing is you're going to want to make sure to come out at least 3 blocks from your angled pieces. And this is important because the zombies are going to come whichever way is easier. And so if this is upgraded to, let's say you've upgraded this to concrete, right? And this is just ground. They're going to see the ground and go, okay, well, it's a lot easier to beat into the ground than it is to go through concrete. So they will actually start coming like out here, and they'll try and dig down behind. On a different server with a bunch of friends, the first time that we built this, we just had this angled piece. We didn't have any pieces out this way, and they were, by the end of the Horde Night, I think there were 3 of us playing that Horde Night, and by the end of it, they were, I want to say 10 or 15 blocks down into the dirt. And then the game started glitching, and they were digging right here, and we had all of that concrete, and they actually started glitching into the wall and then falling all the way down on top of us. It was not fun. We basically had one person stand, like if they were digging over there, we basically had one person stand here, and his whole job was just to make sure that he shot anything that glitched through the walls, while the other 2, we just kind of circled around and killed everything at the bottom. So you're going to want to go 3 blocks out, and you'll want that just as strong as these pieces here, as quickly as you can. Now, I've gone out quite a bit wider, just because it's not going to hurt anything to go wider. It's just going to make it that much more secure, I guess. I had another video where I was running these SMG turrets out here to kill the vultures, and I basically just had 1 block underneath topsoil and then just laid a rebar frame on top of it so the zombies wouldn't get in, and I decided to upgrade it, and as you can see here, And then they also busted out a few blocks here. Probably not the greatest idea on my part, but I built this tunnel so that I would have quick and easy access to fix anything or reroute power. You know, if I ever wanted to add blade traps or something stupid up top, I could, you know, easily get to everything. And then I steeled this wall off because on the other side of this is the pit wall. But they had actually started to break in, I think it was like right around in here. They had started to beat down towards this area to get in because they felt that this open section was a lot easier to get to than beating on the blocks that I had on the pit. So if you do run power, just I would probably redo it and maybe have, you know, blocks up in the air and then run the wires across that way rather than digging them into the ground. But you know, lessons learned. So, you know, again, sorry I sidetracked. You want to upgrade this angled piece 3 blocks out, make sure that they all fall where you want them to. You know, and this piece here is not needed. I fought a few hordes here. This base not ideal for fighting hordes, especially not higher level hordes. You're gonna need to make sure that whatever material you have here, concrete, cobblestone, whatever, you're gonna want to make sure that you have plenty of supplies on you on top of all the other ammunition, because the zombies will path to the easiest place to get to you. So, you know, if the horde usually in these comes in at angles, so they'll come in off the corners here and they'll come towards you, and then once they get right in front, they'll start, you know, beating on the walls. And sorry, I haven't had enough water this morning. So they'll start beating on the walls until one spot gets weaker than the others. Once it gets down to about half, they'll actually, you know, if they start coming over here and you're still fighting over here, they will actually walk all the way around to that one spot, because that's the easiest way to get in. So make sure that you have whatever material you have here. You know, if this is a design that you want, make sure you have enough supplies to fix whatever it is that's here on top of whatever you're fighting with. The main reason that this is here now is a supply dump for all of my stuff to sell. I got a bunch of stuff I brought up from looting. And the other thing that this does is, you know, a lot of people will just have a hatch in the ground, and then you come up and there you are. I don't like that. I've had a few times where I've come up and there's, I think one time there were a pack of 5 zombie dogs that were running across over there. There were 2 wolves that came over here. I've had a few wandering hordes come up, and it's just nice to come up. I can do whatever I'm doing, you know, with my loot, and I don't have to worry about fighting zombies that are there. Just a personal preference on my end. So, also full parkour if you make this. So I am 4 blocks up, and that is the perfect height. 3 blocks is what you can jump when you're full parkour. A single block down there, the zombies won't use that to get up because there's 2 more blocks to get to the wall, and so they will basically ignore that wooden block. Even if they didn't, just where it is, I can pick it up anytime I want and throw it back down. So just a personal preference thing. Yeah, again, you know, when you're down here, you're going to want to be standing as close to the inner ring as possible to make sure that you are forcing the zombies to drop down. If you stand out here, they will beat on that first block away from the angled piece. So this is the angled setup there, that bit of concrete down here, and one block of steel. He hit that with steel while he was fixing everything. You know, if you're standing out here, they're going to want to get to the easiest path, and rather than go through all of this concrete, they can go through one block and then it's straight through stone. So you're going to want to stand as close to, well, basically just stand on these right here. So that's my video. If you have any questions, feel free to leave me a comment. If you have friends you want to share this with, by all means, you know, just let me know if you have any questions. Thanks.